Hey everyone, it's your girl Moya. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna be discussing my overall first bodybuilding prep experience, and I'm just gonna be sharing insights of what I went through all prep for my first time ever. Okay, so some key points that I am going to be touching on is why I chose bodybuilding, my prep process, physical and mental challenges, lessons learned, my competition day experience, my results, and a little bit of reflection, and then also maybe like advice or just my tips for other first-time bodybuilders, just sharing my experience from my first time. So if that's something that you're interested in, then keep on watching. So let's go ahead and just jump into it, okay? Why I chose bodybuilding. So what inspired me to start this journey, and do I have any specific goals or a personal reason for competing, etc.? So I basically chose bodybuilding from basically others planting a seed. So what I mean by that is I basically started my own personal fitness journey about 6-ish years ago, so in 2019, and from there, just over the years, I've made progress, right? So with that, eventually I started having people start coming up to me and they're like, wow, your physique looks so good, do you do competition? And I'm like, no, what is competition? What are you talking about? And then, you know, they would explain to me, they would show me pictures, all the stuff, and then this actually became like a thing. This became like almost every time I stepped into the gym, almost every time I had someone come up to me like, wow, you look so good, like, do you do competition? And I'm like, no. And every time though, they would just be like, well, your physique looks good, you have so much potential, I think you would do good, so maybe just look into it. So eventually I was just thinking, well, if all these people just think I have so much potential in this sport, let me just look into it actually. So that's what I did. I started doing my own research. I started looking into it more, started following some bodybuilders online, looking up some YouTube videos about it, all the stuff, and then I was just like, I don't know if I really want to do this. So I just had it like in the back of my mind. Like I wasn't like really going for it at the time, but then eventually I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it out. And then that's kind of like how everything started happening. I started looking for a coach. I started actively like checking out prices for coaches and all the stuff, like how much it's gonna cost me for this hobby or this sport or whatever. And I got to a spot where I was like, well, I don't know about this. Like, I don't know what was really stopping me, but I had something pop up in my head, in my mind, and it was just like, well, just try it out now. Like, you might as well try it out now. Why wait to do it later? Just do it now. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. So that's what I did. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna have fun with it. This is just a challenge to myself. This is just a me versus me thing. I'm not gonna be in it to win it, and I'm just gonna see, do I even like this sport? Do I even enjoy this? But I won't know until I actually do it. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try it out just for fun. So that's what I did. So that's how I got started in bodybuilding. Basically others just planting a seed, and that seed kind of just sprouted and grew inside of me, and I was like, okay, I'm just try it out. So that's basically how I got started in my first bodybuilding show. Next, we're gonna be talking about my prep process. So within that, we're gonna talk about training, diet, posing, and coaching. So training. How did my workout routine change, and were there new techniques or styles of training that I had to adopt? So I'll say with training from what I was already used to. So my workout style beforehand was more of strength training, but also a mix of growing my muscles. So hypertrophy training. It was a good mix of both because I was doing a couple of other programs like ebooks that I was already on that did strength and hypertrophy. So it was already very, very similar to what my coach for bodybuilding put me on. Had me very similar to what my coach for bodybuilding programmed for me. So I'll say everything was pretty much the same type of stuff, movements, everything. I'll just say maybe the reps and sets kind of changed. So maybe for strength, you would do maybe 3 sets of 5, right? But now we're doing maybe 4 to 5 sets of 10 to 12. So obviously maybe not going as high in weight. We're lowering the weight down so we're able to complete all of the reps with great form and still being able to progressive overload with each set. So training was very, very similar. The only thing that changed was my diet. With my training beforehand, I was consistent, but I would say moderately consistent. Like I wasn't consistent, but I would take breaks here and there whenever I kind of just felt like it. But when I got on prep, you know, it had to be very consistent. So I was in the gym 5 days a week, and then towards the end of prep, almost towards stage, it did go to 6 days a week. So it was basically just 5 days of weights with cardio after. And then the 6 days was 5 days of weights, cardio after, and the 6th day was just cardio. So with my diet, we're gonna be discussing meal prep, caloric adjustments, and then the mental challenges of strict dieting. So I'll say my diet, what beforehand was similar, like almost there. I pretty much mostly cooked all my food at home anyway, and only because I like cooking. I love cooking. It's another form of therapy for me, just like the gym. And I was also, because I loved cooking, I also loved to make stuff from scratch anyway. So that wasn't really an issue, but I did eat out maybe once or twice a week. I enjoyed my sweets and desserts whenever I felt like it. Everything was just moderation. And then my water wasn't, it was there, but my intake in water wasn't all the way there, you know. But when I got on prep, my coach didn't have me on a strict diet for real. All she said was just whole, nutritious, dense foods. So basically just eating clean, nothing processed, and then a gallon of water a day. So basically not eating out at restaurants anymore. That's the main thing that changed. And then just making sure you're very aware of what you are putting in your body. So making sure you are looking at the ingredients. Nothing extra is in the ingredients, but just a whole food item. You don't want nothing extra, like all the chemicals and processed stuff. So really looking at food labels was a thing. And then of course, I wasn't calorie counting. I never calorie counted before, and I had to learn that when I first started, and just going through that process as well. So learning how to count calories, we use MyFitnessPal, and like I said, just whole foods. Since I did love to cook, I found to be very creative with my food, because I'm not the type of person who can eat the same food every single day, all day, every day. It's just not in me like that. So, and I wanted to really enjoy it. I really wanted to enjoy this whole process, and the main thing is nutrition and food, right? So I was like, I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm gonna come up with my own recipes and try out all this new stuff, and I'm just gonna really make it fun for me. So that's just what I did with the food part. If you've been watching my channel, then you already know I love to cook, and if you look at all my shorts and everything else, then you see like the food that I make. So yeah. So I do have my series up for bodybuilding prep, and you guys know, if you watched it, I went through all of my caloric adjustments during the prep. But basically in the beginning of prep, she kind of, the first few weeks of coaching, she kind of just had me, she went through like a process of like finding out what my daily expenditure was, and how much I was actually eating. So just kind of starting out with a food diary and going from there. I started off at about maybe 2,000 or so calories, and then dropped from there. So with training and food, every time my weight would stay the same, that's when the calories would start dropping. So as long as my weight was dropping, she didn't really adjust my macros. But when my weight kind of stayed stable and stayed the same week by week, then that's when she started dropping my calories, just so we can keep the needle moving, because, you know, obviously we was dropping about a good pound each week. So just very slow in a good healthy manner, because I started off at about 155 pounds and we got all the way down to 116. So we started way out like March through, and then show was December. So so the caloric adjustments were basically just adjusting to that. So the mental challenges, like during the whole prep, I was good. Like I felt good, I felt amazing in the gym, going hard, good, everything was great. I would just say the last few weeks is where the mental started really shifting, and I'll just say that's when my calories was starting to get really, really low. So maybe like, I want to say like a good 5 to 7 weeks out was when I started noticing some shifts mentally. Like I was good, but I was also pushing through. But once I hit about a good 4 weeks out, 3 weeks out, I was going downhill, and I was going downhill fast, like just mentally. Starting to be even a little bit depressed in a sense, and just like really, really like going to war and just pushing through mentally, like only because I was getting to a point of like, I'm hungry, like I'm starving, but it's a mental battle of, wow, I'm starving and I want to eat, but I know that I can't because I'm prepping for the show, and you know, we have goals to reach and all of this stuff, right? So it was just a mental battle with that, just because I've never put myself through something like this before, and I've never went that low on calories before. We got all the way down to like 700 something calories, and you know, basically you're just not eating. So but I did learn a few tips and tricks, like mental shifts. So instead of like saying, wow, I don't get to eat, or I can't eat, it was more of, you know what, I'm fasting and this is temporary and this is for competition. You know, we're going to be reaching a goal. So, and then once we're done with competition, then I can eat a little bit more. So I was kind of just trying so hard to like shift those perspectives in my head so I can push myself to like stay on top of this, you know. It did get really hard, but y'all need to go back and watch these videos. If you haven't seen my prep series, go back and watch it and you can like really see what I kind of really endured. Next, we're gonna be talking about posing. So posing practice, I started about maybe 15 or 16 weeks out of posing. Beforehand, I was watching YouTube videos about posing, so I kind of did my own thing. But from about 16 or so weeks is when I actually had real posing with my coach. And we kind of went through like specific movements where I need to place my hands, place my feet, how to turn my body into the position it needs to be, and all of that. And then from there, I had practice for posing about once or twice a week on my own. In the beginning, since I was kind of far out, we did it maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks with my coach. And then towards closer to stage time, it was maybe once a week. So, but once my coach kind of felt like I was pretty good on posing, then it was just on my own through the end of prep, so through competition. Now I will say it is very important to practice posing. I will say that. And practice at the gym, practice at home, practice in your bikini, because you really want to be comfortable with posing. And I would say practice in front of mirrors, but also practice without mirrors in front of you, because when you do get on stage, you're not going to have mirrors there, and you still need to be able to hit it. So I'll say the earlier you can, practice posing. Like practice posing as soon as you start, even maybe think about competition, or as soon as you start prep with your coach. Like if you can, months in advance, do that. Especially if you don't have any background of say modeling or just posing or just something like that in general, then you need to really practice that. You need to be able to kind of have a muscle memory of the posing, so when you get on stage you can just hit it exactly just like you are regularly practicing in front of a mirror. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So yeah, but I will say practicing hitting your poses gets easier and easier as you're cutting down, because say when you have a lot of weight on you, it's hard to kind of even see the pose or even get into the pose that you need to be when you have maybe all this, if for say like bikini, if you have all this weight on your midsection, it's hard to kind of really twist your body like you need to, because like with posing, it is kind of just like that. It's like you're wringing a towel. Your midsection is like being ringed, because you want your lower body to go one way and your upper body to go the other way. So when I cut down, it got so much easier. I was like, okay, this is getting easier and easier as I cut down. So, but posing is just, it's important. So start as early as you can, okay? Next, we're gonna be talking about physical and mental challenges. So basically the highs and lows of prep, such as like fatigue, hunger, moments of doubt, and then how did I stay motivated through the tough times. So I'll just say I always kept going back to my whys. Why am I doing this? And it was really just a challenge. So I said, I'm doing this as a challenge to myself. This is me versus me. This is me showing myself, I can do this. Can I really do this? Yes, I can. It was me really just challenging myself to complete something that I started. Because I will say a lot of things in the past, like hobbies, it's always like a quick little hobby. It's like I'll pick up something, do it for a little bit, maybe I'll finish it, maybe not. It's always because I get so interested in so many different things. It's like I'll start this, it's like and I'll start something else, then it's like so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna complete it all the way through. And you know what, it's me versus me. I'm gonna do this. It's a challenge. Let's go. So that's what kind of just motivated me through it all. And then also because I'm putting money into it, and I was like, I don't want this money to go to waste. So paying for a coach and then paying for all of this stuff, I'm like, you know what, I gotta do this because I'm actually paying for all of this, for coaching, for groceries, for all this. And I was like, I started this. If I stopped, it would be like, well, why did I start in the first place? I got to see it through. So I always went back to my why of, I'm literally challenging myself for once in my life, something really, really tough, and I'm gonna finish it. So that's basically like my why. I just wanted to see like, how far can I push myself? So I basically just wanted to say like, how far can I push myself? And so that was just basically how I stayed committed and stayed motivated during prep, and just kind of basically just saying like, I can do hard things, you know, and then just kind of like setting my mind up of like other things in life, you know. If I can do this, if I can do bodybuilding and intentionally put myself mentally and physically through all of these things, then I can do anything else in life, you know. So yeah, there was definitely highs and lows through prep, but I always kind of just resorted back to my why. Like, why am I doing this? And that's basically all I could really do to help me kind of push through. It's like always remembering your why. Now, I didn't have anything deeper of a why, but to just challenge myself. So that's all I had. And that's basically what just fueled me. I didn't really have any other fuel besides that, but it just felt good to have a goal that I'm working towards, which was competition, which was stage day, right? And it just felt good, you know, to actually work towards something outside of work and outside of all these other things that I'm doing. So it was just good to just really just channel my focus on something, and I really did like make it fun for myself to do it. So lessons learned during prep. So we're going to talk about some things that I learned about myself, any misconceptions, and tips, a few tips for other people just starting prep, which we'll also talk about more tips at the end as well. So what did I learn about myself and my body and my mindset? So what I learned about myself was how I kind of pushed through during tough times. And it was really a no excuses type of thing. I made so many excuses in my head, but I kept telling myself. It was like a battle mentally every time. Like, say if I didn't feel like going to the gym, I was like, no. In my head, I'm like, no way, you're gonna go to the gym. Why? Because you have this show that you're gonna prep for. and you need to do what you need to do. And my feelings did not really matter. My feelings don't care about your goals, okay? So you need to go anyway. And besides, you're gonna feel better anyway after you hit the gym and fulfill all of these daily promises that you made to yourself. And every time I finished the workout and did what I need to do, I did feel good after. So I learned about consistency. I learned about discipline and just building that up. And I learned just so much. I learned not just things about myself, but just in general about health and fitness and nutrition and things like that. Like during my whole prep, it was like I was doing research almost every day on different things. So it was like I was constantly learning like every single day. Any misconceptions that I had before starting, only the main things were that after you compete or something, like you're gonna have issues, say like with your health, or maybe for women you can't get pregnant, or some people have really negative side effects from bodybuilding. And I was just also listening to other people, and they was telling me all of these negative stuff, but also at that beginning time I wasn't doing my research. But when I did my own research and I actually really dove into it all, like none of that is true. Bodybuilding actually, I feel like, is a really healthy sport up until the last few weeks getting ready for stage, and maybe after. But I'll say you really have to, we'll get into this part when I get into my little tips, but for women, it doesn't affect you getting pregnant. It doesn't really affect your health or anything. But the only thing that I did found was if you're on drugs. So in this sport, there's a lot of people on drugs. I am completely natural, and I told myself, well, I'm not gonna be getting on these drugs and stuff. I'm gonna stay natural, so none of that is my concern. So that's basically how I went into it, and I was like, I'm just not gonna be doing drugs. Only things that happen with all of that is if you are, because the drugs, maybe some people start abusing it, and that's how it really starts affecting you. So I'll say if you are gonna be getting on some stuff like that, just use it effectively, don't abuse it. But me personally, I'm just not even gonna be touching on that. Like for me, like doing this sport is fun. It's not so serious to that degree, you know? Now we'll say maybe if you really want to push for like being in the big leagues of it, like going to the Olympian stuff, I'll say maybe that would be like a consideration. But even then, I personally would not. But maybe for some people, because maybe getting up to that degree of level, it's like your natural body can only do so much, right? Unless it's just literally your genes, your genetics. So those are really the only misconceptions I had about that sport. So tips, I'll just say, make sure you do your own research about everything beforehand, before you even get started, and really consider it. Consider your own health and what you're getting into. Consider your own mindset. I'll definitely say really have a really good healthy mindset around food, and a really good healthy mindset around the gym and just your overall lifestyle. Because I'll say the nitty-gritty of it all towards the end, it just gets really tough. Especially if your coach, or maybe if you're self-coaching if you get down to like that real low degree of calories, it can really mess you up. It can mess your body cues, your hormones, all of that can get really messed up. So just make sure you have a really healthy mindset around it all. So when you get down to maybe that level of, if you get to a really low caloric diet and pushing your body to like the max limits, and then coming off of it, like getting back up there, that you're just really in a good mental space. Because I had a struggle with that. So competition day experience. So how did it feel stepping on stage for the first time? My overall feeling first time, I just felt like I just felt so just like calm, relaxed. I felt confident. I felt really good. And I also kind of just felt like it felt natural almost. But I'll say only that part because I do have a history of modeling and doing fashion shows on stage and runway and stuff like that. So I felt like I felt like I was going to be nervous, but in actuality I wasn't, because it's very similar to doing things like that. So me being on stage, posing in front of other people, that wasn't like the first time I've ever done that. That was because I've done it before doing fashion shows and stuff. So it felt natural for me, and that's probably why I just felt so calm during my first stepping on stage and stuff. So and I just felt confident about it all, and I felt good, and I was like, all of this hard work that we did during prep, this is it. This is the showcase, you know. So but I mean, overall I just felt really good. So highlighting the atmosphere, the other competitors, and what stood out the most to me, I will definitely say the atmosphere was very, it felt good. The energy was good. Backstage felt really great. All the other competitors, everyone was really nice. Everybody was friendly. People were open to talk and kind of like just share their experience and stuff. I didn't run into anybody with like bad moods or anything. Everything was just like really cool. Everything was well organized, and everything just ran pretty smoothly. Other competitors during my first show, so during the Battle of Texas, there were a lot of other first timers, and since it was my first time as well, I really got to enjoy that aspect of meeting other first timers, to just sit and conversate and talk and hear about their journeys. And I felt like we all could really relate to a lot of stuff that we went on prep, and it felt good because during prep, no one else around me is like really is doing this for the first time, you know. I've only talked to people who maybe had experience in doing it for a while, like at my gym. But just hearing other first timers, it was like hearing insights is like, okay, like you just don't feel alone, you know, and then you can just really relate to everybody else. So it felt good. And then it was just really like good atmosphere. So really, you can really make some like bodybuilding friends at the shows and just connect, and you kind of have like lifelong friends in a sense, if you do decide to keep on going, because more than likely you're going to start seeing them at other shows, and it's like now you can kind of look forward to the shows even more because you get to see all your bodybuilding friends every time you go. So I think that aspect is really cool. And let's see. And what stood out the most to me was just the realization of maybe just being backstage and seeing everybody's physique. And it's like, wow, like almost kind of like Sonder. So just the realization that others are going through something very similar just like you, and they have their own life and journey and ups and downs just like you. And it's just a realization of like, wow, like I can just look at another girl backstage and look at her physique, and it's like, wow, like she looks amazing, she looks good. But just to imagine and think about what she has to go through, you know, and just to think like what I had to go through, like it could be similar, but it could be totally different as well. But just the realization, I think, is just the realization of that is just what stood out the most for me. Did the experience match my expectations? I'll say yes and no. Mostly yes though, only because I felt like, because I did my research beforehand, because I looked up on YouTube and on Google, on Instagram and TikTok and anywhere that I can do research about other bodybuilders and things like that, I felt like that created a expectation of what I could possibly be going through. So I felt like it did match my expectations only because of that. But I'll say, if I hadn't done the research, if I hadn't looked up other vlogs, other podcasts, other just whatever on the internet about bodybuilding, I wouldn't have any expectation. I wouldn't know what I would be going through, nothing. So and I did also go to a bodybuilding show to watch in person just as a spectator, and that also helped a lot as well. So I will definitely say, make sure you do your research, look up vlogs, look up other people's experiences and journeys. Actually attend a bodybuilding show in person before you even have your own first show. And if you can just make friends at the gym of other people who are bodybuilders, do that so you can get to know them. You can learn about their journey, what they went through, you know. Now, bodybuilding is not a one-size-fits-all sport. Everybody's journey is literally going to be different. From their coach, how their coach coaches you, how some coaches set macros, but some coaches have a strict diet, so you're going to be eating only certain things, right? And just the whole process, how your physique reacts to stuff, if you're doing supplements or you're not doing supplements, if you're on gear or if you're not on gear, there's all these different things. So I'll say, if you are first time or maybe thinking about doing a show, just try it out for yourself, but literally have fun with it. Try it out for yourself, have fun, make the most of it. And I'll say you can only enjoy this if you do that, because if you're doing it and you're not having fun, you're not going to have good results at all. Just period. Results and reflection. So how did I perform and how did I feel about the outcome? So I ended up doing my first show, NPC Battle of Texas. I did 3 divisions. So I did True Novice, Novice, and Open. At first, I was just gonna do Open just from my coach, but just talking with other people in the gym and also other first timers, they're like, just do it all as you can. For one, you don't know if you're gonna be doing this again. And 2, it does open up the chance for you to move forward and possibly go to nationals in place. So I already had signed up for open, but a few weeks later, I did go ahead and register for the other two. Only because I was kind of doubting myself a little bit, because my coach was banking on me winning and placing, and I was like, I don't know if I'll place. So I was like, let me just go ahead and sign up for the other two. It'll help with placing and stuff, but also I don't know if I'm going to be doing this again, and I might as well go big or go home. So I ended up signing up for all three. So I did first place in True Novice, and then second place in Novice, and second place in Open. So we ended up placing, and I went to NPC Nationals the following weekend, and I placed third place there. So I felt like, you know, that was a really good run for my first time. Literally one spot away from getting my pro card. So at Nationals, if you get first or second place, then you get your pro card, and I got third, so literally almost there. But overall the outcome was, like, placing and stuff, it was really good. I did doubt myself a ton towards the end, but I overcame it all, and I did really well. And I really had to keep going back to my why my mindset of just have fun, literally enjoy the process. So because I kept slipping back into, what if I don't win? Oh my gosh, just doubting myself. And I was like, well, Moy, you told yourself you're not in it to win it, so just have fun. So I think me kept trying to, like, go back to that mindset is what also really helped as well. So literally, like, just go up there, have fun, and that's kind of what just showed. I went up there, I had fun, and that also helped. Because when you're hitting the stage, it's about posing, but also it's about stage presence. It's about grace. It's about poise. It's about really, like, you can tell when you step on stage and you look at someone and you're judging them, like, outside looking in. It really does affect your whole stage presence, affects your scoring. So I'll definitely say that, like, make sure you're, like, in a good headspace about it all. Like, don't be worried about judging and placement and all that stuff. If you're out there just to have fun and you just feel good and you feel confident, and all that stuff is going to show and is going to affect your scoring. So that's what I did, and I felt good. So what was the most rewarding aspects of the journey? I'll say the most rewarding is just during the journey, like, doing the things that you said you was gonna do, fulfilling those little promises that you make to yourself, those daily wins. That part was the most rewarding. Like, in the end, when I won, you know, at show and stuff, like, it felt good, it felt cool, but I wasn't, like, super duper ecstatic. Like, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I won. You know, I felt good the most just during prep when I said, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna do this, this, and this on my to-do list today. And at the end of the day, I completed everything. That was the most rewarding part for me, in just doing that. So, and literally just having fun with it all. Like, that was the most rewarding part of it all. I'll say just having that consistency and discipline, only because that's probably the most hardest thing to do with anybody in any aspect and shape of life. Just being consistent with something and being disciplined. Being able to say, no, I don't want this or that, you know? No, I have goals to reach, so I can't do this or I can't do that. But also feeling confident about it too, you know. Not a fear of missing out feeling or whatever, right? So I think that's what all tied into the most rewarding aspect of it all. Is this something you do again, and how would you approach it differently? I'm still literally on the fence right now of if I'll do this again. I feel like coming off of stage this, because it's January now, so this past month after competition has been very crazy. And honestly, I'll talk about that in my next vlog. So it's gonna be an off-season vlog, so if you guys want to kind of hear more insights about me, life after competition, then go ahead, subscribe to my channel, and only so you can be notified when I drop that video and more videos. So I'll get into all of that in the other coming videos. So I'm literally on the fence. I haven't really decided. I feel like I want to, but right now I just need a little time. I need to like have a break and kind of rejuvenate and things like that. So if I do, it won't be soon, it'll be after a while. But I'm definitely considering it, only because an aspect of, again, just for fun, but also of like just going ahead and really challenging myself and pushing myself. Like, how much better can I get at this sport? You know, it's like question, you know. And it's like really just seeing like, how far can I push myself, how much better, how much more better, or how much more can I improve? And you know, just really, I would really honestly just go for my pro card. Like if I do another show, the next show I do, period, like the whole mindset changes. Like it's not, oh, I'm not in it to win it. It's like, oh, I'm in it to win it, but I'm also having fun while doing it, and I'm going to get my pro card, period. So it's like having that mindset shift to that, but also of just challenging myself, constantly challenging myself, constantly improving myself. And that's basically how I would approach it differently. Now that I've gone through it one time, it's like I know what to expect. I know what to do. I know what is expected of me. And the things that I did this past prep, I'll kind of change to be even better for the next prep, right? So it's kind of like what Sebum said that always stuck with me is make your first prep your worst prep. Because when you're learning about it all, you don't really know what to expect, so you're kind of learning and you're experiencing. So obviously, like say how I binged this last prep a couple of times, next prep the goal would be to not binge at all, and to just, maybe I skipped a day here, but next prep I'm not going to skip any days. So it's just improvement, and it's just overall, like environmentally, physically, mentally, emotionally, like everything is going to be improved. And that's how I would look at it. But I feel like in order for me to be in that place, in that mindset, I do need to take a little break and kind of like really get healthy in all areas and stable in all areas in order to be at that top tier level of like going for it all, you know? So it's kind of like that. So that's how I would approach it differently. So advice for other first timers or beginners, or maybe you're just thinking about doing your first show. So I would definitely say top things would be having no expectations, so therefore you never get disappointed. Just being consistent. The top people in this sport, the thing that they have is consistency. So literally, say with a diet, no cheat days. You're very, very consistent with your macros every single day. And you don't go outside of that. Being in the gym, you're very, very consistent. You don't skip workouts. You push yourself every single day to the fullest, and you complete what you need to do. So having patience, because like I was on prep for a couple of months, almost a year, versus some other people who are only on prep for maybe 3 months, 4 months. And it really is just about having patience, and you're not gonna see results immediately. And I already went into that. I didn't have any expectations. I was just kind of like going with the flow and just enjoying it all and just seeing how everything kind of unfolded. So being consistent, having patience, and having a really great support system. So making sure whoever is around you, you are going to talk to them about the process, and especially really communicate, especially if you're going to be living, if you're living with people and you don't live by yourself. But even just when you are out with your friends, or just being out in public, or even just at work, when you're around people in general, just maybe do communicate that you are bodybuilding, that you are on prep. But also communicate about how you feel, and like energy wise and things like that. But I'll also just say to be present and be aware of your own self, especially concerning your emotions and stuff, to kind of set up your environment as well. So like say during the Hope Prep, I made sure I was intentional about my energy and my mood, because me doing my own research beforehand, I did notice there's a lot of negativity, and there's a lot of, say, mood swings or attitudes or whatever going through prep. One, because you're lowering your caloric intake, right? Especially carbs, and carbs are your happy hormone food, right? So maybe if you're on low carbs, you're not gonna have the best energy, you're not gonna have the best mood, especially if you're hungry, you're gonna be hangry. And you know how you get when you're angry, like your attitude is popping off and you're just tired and this and that, and everything combined is just, it's not a good feeling. But even you have to also push through and be mindful that when you're around people and you're feeling like this, still push through and be kind, be nice, push good energy out and positivity. Because one, you know you don't want to be talked to any kind of way, so why would you talk to anybody else any kind of way, right? So just be intentional and mindful about the energy you do put out. So communicating with your support system about that as well. So say if you are hangry and in a mood or attitude or anything, it's literally because you're hungry and you're tired, and because I'm putting myself through this. So make sure you do communicate with them of like, I'm sorry, right now I don't feel in a good space to talk right now or be around people, because I'm hungry and I'm tired and I'm feeling like this. So please just give me a moment. It is not about you or anything to do with you. This is literally just me, and I'm just letting you know. So just make sure you do communicate with your support system about moments like that, if you have moments like that. And just having a good support system in general. You don't want to be around people who push food on you, because food can get really tempting. So like especially when you get low on food. Like for me, it was like, hey, do you want some fries? And it was like, no, I'm good. But it can be really questionable sometimes. Like, I want some, but I'm not gonna have any. But it's like, really, like, don't give in. But also making sure that maybe the people around you, they know, just don't offer me food right now. You know, that they know that. And just people who just support you in general, like that they support you on your bodybuilding journey, you know, and that they don't talk negative about how bodybuilders do this and do that and just all this negative stuff, like, and just put you down, you know. So make sure you're surrounded by good energy, and just people who want to push you forward and support you through it all. So yeah. And then just other advice, kind of like how I said throughout, was make sure you do your research, make sure that you're prepared mentally, emotionally, you have a good relationship with food beforehand. That way you can probably sustain a good relationship with food throughout maybe the end of prep, and then after prep. Make sure you're good financially, because the sport can be pretty expensive. Like for suits, they are pretty expensive. Booking hotels, registration fees for the show, paying for your coach, paying for groceries, because you will more than likely be on a high protein diet, and a lot of protein is a lot of money. So yeah, so food, coaching, you're going to be paying for your gym membership, you're going to be paying for your competition heels, you're going to be paying for your competition suit, you're going to be paying for competition fees, registration fees, your NPC membership if you don't already have that, and then you know, hotels, parking at all the venues, and just everything in general. Hair, you're gonna be paying for getting your hair done, getting your makeup done, getting your tan done. You gotta pay for jewelry. It's a lot that does go into it. I'll say mostly towards the end, once show day comes up, because it's all gonna hit you all at once. Okay. But during the most part of it all, it's pretty okay. It's just make sure you're prepared for anything, everything, right? Already on top of, you know, regular life expenses. So and yeah, I will definitely just say having gratitude is going to be a really big, and I'll even say game changer, because at first, like, I was grateful, but towards like the middle and then the end, I was really intentional about having gratitude, which actually really helped with my energy and my output with people, because with my job, I have clients, and it's a really one-on-one job that I have. So having like good energy and stuff, but just having gratitude, it helps with all of that. So just being grateful for everything, literally grateful for the support you have, your support system, being grateful for waking up every single day, being grateful that you get to move your body, you get to work out, you get to nourish your body with some good food, you get to replenish your body with water every single day. And you know, just thinking about that, like, some people don't even get to do this, but you can. So just being grateful for that. and just being grateful for life in general, and that you can really enjoy this, and that you get to even do something like this. It's just being grateful. So I think that would be like a #1 thing. I'm sure there's probably other things that I probably just that I'm not just even thinking about right now. Check out my description. I'm gonna drop a whole bunch of other stuff in there that maybe I missed just from talking through this video. So check out the description, subscribe to my channel, like this video if you enjoyed this, or even just took away something from this. Like this video, comment if you have any other questions, and just subscribe so you know when I drop my next videos. I definitely do want to talk about the life after competition, like this whole last month. I'm going to get into another video, so just stay tuned for that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful, or you took away just at least one thing from it that's going to help you when you do your own first show. And just good luck to everyone who is getting ready for your first show ever. Good luck. And if anyone else doesn't say it to you, I am. And look, I'm just so proud of you for even just doing this, for taking the first step and just going for it, because this is a sport that is hard, and not everyone is going to be doing this. Literally, I'll say no one, because not every regular person is going to do this. Some will, but just pushing yourself through this is like, you're the top 5%. Like, pushing yourself mentally, physically, and in every aspect. Basically fasting, or even just restricting yourself from certain foods, just having this as a whole lifestyle. Okay, this is very challenging, and I applaud you. Okay, so definitely go for it. I will recommend doing this to anyone, just to experience it and just to have fun for your first time. You will go through ups and downs. It will be challenging, but in the end, it's definitely rewarding. But I'll say even just going through it, just going through the journey, going on the ride, having the adventure is the most rewarding. It's kind of like when you think about it, of driving in your car and you go from your destination from point A to B. It's like enjoying the view along the way. That's the most rewarding part, enjoying the process. Like, getting to your end destination at point B is cool, is great. It's like, yes, I'm finally here. But like I said during the video, the most rewarding and the best part is just going through it and enjoying the scenery along the way. So yeah, if you're shooting for your first show, like, I'm proud of you. I'm so happy and excited for you. Drop in the comments if this is your first show that you're prepping for this year or any other time. And I really want to hear what your stories, and I want to keep up with y'all. So if y'all are making videos too about your journey and documenting it, I'll definitely subscribe and just like support you along the way. So I just want to say congratulations and good luck, and you got this. You got this. Remember, you can do anything you put your mind to, okay? It's plan A or nothing. Look, the course may change along the way, how to get there, but you're still gonna get your end result, okay? And just make sure you do what you gotta do. You just push through, stay consistent, and just complete your to-do list every single day. Fulfill those daily promises you made to yourself, and just have those daily wins. That's what's gonna really be the game changer, and the most rewarding part of it all. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.